welcome back. Today we're going to be going over tasks and creating tasks, having them update dynamically, and ending missions, syncing triggers and tasks and the end mission triggers, having them all synced together to create a more dynamic mission experience. What we're not going to do today is briefings. That's going to be in a separate tutorial. They're very similar how they both work, but this video is just going to focus on tasks. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have tasks that update dynamically as we get to them. So I'm going to start at this church here with a fire team worth of guys, and we're going to move to the radio tower here. And when we start at the church, we're going to get a task assigned that says move to the radio tower. Then we're going to move to the radio tower. When we get there, the task that's assigned is going to complete and be succeeded, and then it's going to assign us a new task to move down to the intersection here. And once we get there, that task will complete as succeeded, and it will assign us a new task to move down to the end of the pier and assassinate an enemy officer. So, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is drop our group. We're going to lead a friendly fire team. And no player selected. Make sure you make the team leader the player. And we'll drop our first task. So our first task is going to be to move to the radio tower. So go to Modules and Intel. It'll default to MISC, so make sure you go to Intel and then Create Task. And these are the three boxes that we're going to focus on for tasks. Task ID, very important. You always need to name your task. You can name it something very simple. I named mine TSK. It'll be TSK1, TSK2, and TSK3. Title, this is what's going to display in your task menu. So title is move to the radio tower. And description, it's going to be when you click the move to the radio tower task, it's going to be the more verbose description. So move your fire team to the radio tower located at. And right off the bat, I'm going to show you how to do markers. So the radio tower is located at 030062. So let's put that in here so we don't forget it. Radio tower located at 030062. What we're going to do is we're going to put down a marker here. It's an invisible marker, so you won't be able to see it in game. And we're going to name it OBJ1. So Objective 1. And we're going to go back to the create task, and we're going to make it sort of a dynamic link. If you post a lot on the internet, you should already know how to do this. It's a lot like a URL link. And what we're going to do is, instead of using brackets, we use the less than and greater than signs. So marker name equals OBJ1. And then after the text that you want, it's /marker. Pretty simple. Like I said, it's a lot like, I think it's BB code. It's very similar to that. And what this is going to do is, when I get the task in game, I'm going to be able to click on that grid coordinate, and it's going to focus on the radio tower here. But first, this isn't going to just assign the task to this team. I have to link it to this team somehow. So under task, it says apply to groups of synchronized objects. That's the mode that we're going to use. And we're going to synchronize, the synchronized object is going to be the team leader. So now, when we go into game, we should have that task, and it should have a marker on the transmitter tower. So let's check it out. tasks. It says, move your fire team to the radio tower located at 030-062. So we can see, if we look at the map, 030-06, oh, it's actually 030-061, but that's the radio tower right there. I don't have it focused yet, but watch what happens when I click. You can see that it zoomed in and located the dynamic link to the radio tower we're supposed to move. And that's it. So we've got our first task assigned. Now what we need to do is we need to make it so that once we move to the radio tower, that it completes the radio tower task. It'll give us a green check mark. And then it gives us our next task, which is going to be to move to the intersection right here. So let's go back and see how we do that. First thing we need to do is move to the radio tower, and once we get to the radio tower, it's going to accomplish our task. So we will make a new trigger. We'll make it, let's see, 15 by 15 rectangle, and the activation is going to be blue 4 present, and it's only ever going to fire once. You get the trigger right where you want it. So once friendlies get close to the radio tower, the task will complete, but the trigger alone isn't going to make it complete. What we need is the set task state module. So, and then the state is succeeded. So what this is going to do is it's going to, when I link it with this trigger, and I also link it with the task that it's connected with, first of all, ungroup it. It shouldn't be grouped. It's going to set that task state as completed. So link it with the trigger, and I'll link it with the task itself. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to make it so that when I move into this trigger area, or any blue 4 moves into this trigger area, it's going to update the task as succeeded. So we're going to do this all in steps for at least the first task. So let's check and make sure that's working. So I already have the task, right? Yep, move to the radio tower, set as to current task, and we'll focus on the location. And when I hit the marker, or the trigger rather, task complete, move to the radio tower. And you'll see it's got a check mark next to it now. Alright, so now we need to assign the next task once that one gets complete. So we're going to use the same trigger as setting the old task to complete to create the new task. Before we do that though, I'll show you the reason that it's taken me so long to put this tutorial out, and that's set task destination. And you want the destination to be the module position, and make sure you ungroup it. And you want to sync that with the task, the create task. And you put the module wherever you want the task destination to be. And what that should do is when you click the set this as current task button, it should pop up a waypoint on the task destination. However, it's broken right now and doesn't do that. So now you know how to do it, but until it gets fixed, you can't do it. So let's move along. We're going to have this trigger create the next task. So we'll go back to modules, and we'll have create a new task, and the next task is going to be, well, first of all, make sure you give it an ID, task 2. The title is going to be move to the crossroads. Description is going to be bring your team to the crossroads at. And what is the grid for that? It's 028060. Alright. And once again, make sure you ungroup it. You don't want them grouped, you want them synced. And we'll go ahead and make the marker here, and it'll be obj2. And in the create task, once again, we will go marker name equals obj2, and then slash marker. And of course you can name the marker and the marker name anything you want. They just have to be synced up properly. And the last thing you have to do is link the task to the trigger itself. So once my guys run into this trigger area, it's going to set this task state as succeeded, and then it's going to create the next task, because moving into the trigger area makes it create the next task. So let's check it out, make sure that's working. Task completed, move to the radio tower, and did not assign the next task. Why not? Very important. I did not link the task to the person who's supposed to get the task. So make sure you sync the task with the team leader, or he won't get the task. And then, once again, make sure apply to groups of synchronized objects. Now, and now this time it popped up the new task assigned before it pops up that the current task was completed. I don't know how to make them go in proper order. It seems really random as to which one fires first, but they always both fire. So I've even got the check mark, which means that the task destination worked for this one time. But now we go and we look at the next task and we set it as current task and we see where it's at, and it'll zoom us on the map. Now if you look, you click the link no matter where you are on the map and it'll zoom you to that objective. And so we move to the crossroads at 028060. Alright, now we're going to do the next couple of steps all at once. So let's back out. This time, instead of making it succeeded, we're going to cancel it. Once you get to the crossroads, you're going to say cancel that objective and move to the objective of killing the enemy officer at the end of the pier. So, first thing we need to do is make another trigger at the crossroads. And once again, it's going to be blue 4. It's going to fire once on blue 4 present, and we can make it pretty small. 10 by 10 rectangle. Alright. Put it right there. And we're going to set task state as canceled for the task of moving to the crossroads. So you drop the module, set task state, and move it to canceled. And now you have to sync that with both the trigger and the create task. So now once we move to the crossroads, it'll set the task of moving to the crossroads as canceled. And once again, we'll go ahead and put down the task destination module, even though it works maybe 10% of the time. Leave it on module position. Ungroup it. Move it to where you want it. And then sync it with the task. And now we're going to create the last task, which is move to the end of the pier and kill the enemy officer. So we're going to go ahead and create task, and it's TSK3, and its title is eliminate the Iranian officer. And description, there's an Iranian officer by himself at the end of the pier. What we'll do this time is we will create the obj3 marker and go back into the create task, and we'll do end of the pier. That's going to be the link to click on. So marker name equals obj3 slash marker, and OK. Make sure you ungroup it and then sync it with the trigger in that area. Now I'm going to show you a new trigger type. Well, first let's get the officer down. So we're going to put him down on the pier. Now I know from experience that I have to put his elevation up to 2, or else he'll spawn inside of the pier itself. We'll go ahead and make him a kernel. And we will give him a waypoint inside the lighthouse here. Just say position number 2. This is all stuff you should have learned from my other tutorials. Now the trigger this time is going to be him dying. So we're going to give him an actual name, an Iranian Officer 1, so IO1. And then we're going to make a new type of trigger that you guys haven't seen before. And it's going to be, the condition is going to be !alive IO1. So what !alive means is not alive. So once he's dead, this trigger will fire. So you don't have to have an access on it. And what we'll do is, on activation, we'll have a hint pop up. Mission complete. And then we'll copy and paste that trigger. So once he's dead, and we don't have to have the mission complete, and we'll have it on a countdown of 10 seconds. And we'll have it end the mission. So once this guy dies, it's going to fire both of these triggers because they both fire on him dying. And the first one is going to be a hint that pops up immediately saying the mission is complete. And the second one is going to be on a 10-second delay, and it's going to end the mission. So once you kill him, you'll get a message saying mission complete, and then 10 seconds later, the mission will actually end. Now, what we also need to do is update the task when he dies. So we've already got the trigger for when he dies, and we're going to drop the task, which is set task state. It's going to be succeeded. And we're going to sync it with, it doesn't matter which one, actually yes it does. You want the one that's going to fire immediately, not the one that's going to fire after 10 seconds. So sync it to the trigger that fires immediately when he dies, and then sync that set task state succeeded back to the create task. So now, when he dies, it'll immediately pop up that he's dead, and that the mission is complete, and then 10 seconds later it'll end the mission. And once again, we'll go ahead and put a task destination down here. Make sure you ungroup it. It's really annoying, but you'll get used to it. And then sync it with the task itself. So, what have we done? We've made it so you start off, and immediately you have a task already to move to the lighthouse. Once you get to the lighthouse, you've succeeded that task. It updates it gives you a new task to move to the crossroads or the intersection. Once you get there, it cancels that task and tells you to move to the end of the pier and kill the enemy officer. Once you kill him, it sets that task to succeeded, and also, due to the two triggers, it pops up a hint that the mission is complete, and 10 seconds later, it ends the mission. So, let's go ahead and put a truck down here to expedite this a little bit. Alright, now let's go check and see if we made any mistakes. So we start. We've already got the task. Move to the radio tower, and I click it. Set as current task. Oh, look at that. It's actually got the task marker down for once. Working. And I didn't change anything, so why it's working suddenly, no one knows. Task complete. We've moved to the radio tower. Now we should get a new task. Move to the crossroads. Check the new task. Move your team to the crossroad at 028060, and let's set it as current task. Now see, the task marker didn't update this time, even though it's just the same. But we know where we're going. And when we hit the crossroads, the task should complete. Or it cancels. And it did not give us our final task. And I know why. The same reason it didn't give us our next task last time, because I forgot to sync it. So let's go back. I have it synced to the trigger, but I do not have it synced to the player, or the team leader. So now, when we move into that area, it'll update the task. So let's get back over there. Now this time when I hit the trigger, it'll cancel the task to move to the crossroads. And it'll give me the task to eliminate the officer. And I know that he's over there in that building. So let's go ahead and see what happens when I take him out. So the task completed, and you see the hint up in the top right that the mission is complete, and after 10 seconds, mission complete. And if we go to the next screen, it should show the radio tower objective was completed, move to the crossroads objective or task was cancelled, and eliminate the officer task was completed. And it took all of 2 minutes 15 seconds. So, you can see with all of these syncs going all over the place that this can get a little bit confusing, but once you start out with a little task, you know, maybe one task, and then you just build and build and build. One last thing I'll go over. Instead of having that task right at the beginning when you first start, let's make it wait a couple of seconds and pop up the task when the mission starts so you'll know what you're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to have blue 4 present. We'll have it about 15 by 15. And we'll give it a 3-second delay. Timeout means you would have to stand in the area for 3 seconds. Countdown means simply that once you hit the trigger, after 3 seconds, the trigger will fire. And we're going to sync this trigger to the first task. And it's also synced to the team leader. So what this is going to do is once 3 seconds after this trigger fires, it's going to give the task instead of immediately giving the task right at the start of the mission. So let's check it out. And as soon as the mission starts, it'll start that 3, 2, 1. And now we've been assigned a task. So that's a way to make it so when your mission starts, someone doesn't have to go, oh, what do we have to do, and check their tasks. And go, set task, check it out. But instead it'll pop up right as the mission starts, and they'll go, "Oh, look, we have a task. Let's see what it is." And I believe that completes the task tutorial. I think that was a pretty quick video compared to some of my other tutorials. I know I went over a lot of the stuff pretty quickly. Hopefully it wasn't too hard to follow. I know I did everything in sections, so you guys should have been able to see. And of course, you can replay the video, or the section that you have trouble with, as many times as you want, or ask me questions. And hopefully, you'll get it all figured out, and this tutorial was helpful to you. As usual, thanks for watching.
Frag just
He's
landed,
right there.
LT, on the right of that fucking... That's what it sounds like it's coming from.
One down. It's right there. Wait for it to get closer.
Yeah, I'm waiting for
Get a
the
really
stop.
good shot on it.
Shut out.
Jesus!
Fuck it out!
Knock, America, motherfucker.
Oh, good fucking spot.